Ok, clase. Para este video vamos a hablar sobre los verbos saber y conocer. They both mean to know. So this is very similar, just like we have learned in the past, that ser and estar both mean to be. There are two verbs that also mean to know. So let's figure out the difference between them and how to conjugate them in the present tense. First, let's work with saber and its conjugation. So how do we conjugate it? The yo form would be sé. To form, sabes. El, ella, usted form, sabe. Nosotros sabemos. And ellos, ellas, ustedes saben. So notice that in the yo form, it's irregular. So saber, you drop the ER and you add the appropriate endings. They're all regular, right? Except for the yo form. So just make note that the yo form is irregular. So for example, now you know how to say, if I ask you to do something, you could be like, oh, I know, yo sé, boomtown. That's how you conjugate it. Now, when do you use it? Because again, the other verb that we'll talk about later also means to know. So how do we know when to use it? So saber. You use saber if you want to talk about knowing a fact or knowing data. For example, sabemos que Rodolfo y Luisa son estudiantes. We know that Rodolfo and Luisa are students. That's knowing a fact or knowing data. So we use saber, and that's how you conjugate it for we know. ¿Sabes los días de la semana? Do you know the days of the week? Again, you're asking about a fact or data. Yo sé el número de teléfono de Consuelo. I know the it literally translates to I know the number of telephone of advice or, person. So I know the telephone number of the advisement or whatnot. Or the office, the advisement office. Again, all three of those is talking about knowing facts or knowing data. Another way you can use or when to use saber is when the infinitive comes into play, and that's telling how to do something, okay? So for example, like I know how to dance, I know how to sing, I know how to do this. Again, to blank is always the infinitive. So for example, yo sé esquiar. I know how to ski. The how to is just, you don't put a word for how to, it's just understood that it's in the verb. So I know how to ski. This doesn't say I know to ski. Literally translates I know how to ski. ¿Sabes cocinar? Do you know how to cook? Los niños no saben nadar. The kids don't know how to swim. Again, so if you want to know how to say want to talk about how to do something, conjugate the verb and then just put the infinitive behind it. Sé esquiar. I know how to ski. Do you know how to cook? The kids don't know how to swim. And notice conocer, the next to know verb we're about to talk about, is never followed by an infinitive. So anytime in a sentence you see an infinitive, know that in the blank you're going to use saber. Just a quick note, saber is often followed by a question word. So, sabemos quién es Plácido Domingo. We know who is Plácido Domingo. So, if you ever see a question word, which if you don't remember what those are, like what, who, when, where, why, if you ever see a question word, just know that saber is probably going to go in front of it. ¿Sabes dónde está la oficina de correos? Do you know where the office is? The mail office is? ¿Dónde? That's a question word, so we put saber before it. And no sé cuándo sale el tren para Tegucigalpa. I don't know when the train leaves for Tegucigalpa. Again, question word right here. Saber is going to go in front of it. And obviously you have to conjugate saber. We know, you know, I know. Again, conocer is never followed by a question word. Only saber is. Saber, finalmente, is also used when we know something from memory. Memory means de memoria, so if you want to talk about something that you know how to do from memory. Abuela Marta sabe el himno nacional mexicano. She remembers or knows the Mexican national hymn. There's her singing it. Mexicanos al grito de guerra. That's not how it goes, but just go with it. All right, finally, let's go down to conocer. It also means to know, so let's figure out how to conjugate it first. Conozco, conoces, conoce, conocemos, conocen. Notice, again, you conjugate it like a regular ER verb, just like saber. You drop the ER and you add es, hemos, en. But notice, just like saber, the yo form is irregular. There's a Z in there. Conozco. We would say conozco. The Z is pronounced like an S. In Spain, they'd say conozco. It's pronounced like a TH. Conoz. Okay. So when do we use conocer? Conocer is used when you're talking about knowing a person or to be acquainted or thoroughly familiar with a person or thing. So you want to talk about, I know my mom. Oh, I know blank, blank, blank. Like you want to say that you know them as a person. So notice the contrast between saber and conocer in the following sentences. Yo sé quién es Plácido Domingo, pero no conozco al señor Domingo personalmente. I know who Plácido Domingo is. Fact. We use sé or saber. But I don't know Mr. Domingo personally. So we use conozco. Because I know who he is. Fact. So we use saber. But I don't know him personally. So we use conozco. Sabemos dónde está Tegucigalpa, pero no conocemos la ciudad. We know where Tegucigalpa is, but we aren't familiar with the city. So we know, sabemos, where Tegucigalpa is, fact, but we aren't familiar with the city. We don't know it. Conocemos. Julia sabe que Rigoberta Menchú recibió el premio Nobel, pero no conoce sus obras. Julia knows that Rigoberta Menchú received the Nobel Prize, but she isn't acquainted with her works. So I know that she received the prize, fact, but I really don't know her works. Not familiar with them. If you just want to see a chart of these and when to use them, I have it on here. Sometimes it's not who you know, but what you know. Isn't that great? So conocer kind of answers who or where. It's to know a person, to know or be familiar with a general subject. Saber is to know facts, to know how to do something, and something that's not on here, to know or remember something from memory. So let's go into some práctica real quick. You have to choose whether or not to use saber or conocer, and then you have to conjugate it appropriately. So for example, yo blank Shropshire. If you know Demaria Shropshire, that's who I'm referring to. So this is a person. So you need to figure out how to say I know Shropshire. Are you going to use saber or conocer? And then how would you conjugate it? Whoops. To blank, ¿dónde está el mercado? You know where the market is, or where is the market? Is this a fact? Is this something that I don't know. Ella blank jugar baloncesto. She knows how to play baloncesto. Saber o conocer. Nosotros blank a toda la familia de Reagan. We know the whole family of Reagan, or Reagan's whole family. Ellos blank tocar el piano. They know how to play the piano. I'll give you a few minutes, or you can just pause the video. Here are the respuestas. Yo conozco a Shropshire. This literally translates, I know Shropshire. I know him personally. So that's why I used conozco. Tú sabes dónde está el mercado. You know where the market is. We use the verb saber, and it's sabes because the subject to. We use saber and not conocer because it's a fact. I know where the market is. Ella sabe jugar baloncesto. She knows how to play basketball. Again, we use saber because it's knowing how to do something, and it's followed by an infinitive. And we use saber it's sabe because of ella. Nosotros conocemos a toda la familia de Reagan. We know all of Reagan's family. And these people know them personally. Ellos saben tocar el piano. They know how to play piano. Okay, if you have any preguntas, ask me away. This can be really easy or really difficult. But again, if it's really difficult for you, you will eventually get it. So don't be discouraged or disheartened. You got this. And that is all. El fin. Enjoy your weekend, take notas, and come ready on Monday to show me the notas. Adios!